All right, let's get straight into it. Today, we're going to crack the code on one of the most predictable and honestly, one of the most gettable questions in your entire ICSE chemistry exam. I mean, seriously, what if you could walk into that exam hall already knowing the structure, the chapters, and even the kinds of questions you're about to face for a big chunk of marks? Sounds pretty great, right? Well, when it comes to question 2, that's not just a nice idea, it's totally possible. Okay, so let's talk about the legend itself. Question 2. For years, this question has followed a very clear, very distinct pattern, and that makes it a massive opportunity for any student who knows what they're looking for. This isn't about getting lucky, it's about being smart and strategic. And how can we be so sure about this? Well, because we've done the homework for you. This isn't just a guess or a hunch. We have gone through every single paper from 2020 all the way up to the brand new 2026 specimen paper to map out the blueprint. And believe me, the data tells a very, very clear story. So, what is that story? What's the secret? It all comes down to the core content blueprint, the handful of chapters that consistently provide all the building blocks for question 2. Let's break it down. And here it is. It's actually that simple. Question 2 is almost always built from these 4 key chapters: the periodic table, chemical bonding, analytical chemistry, and acids, bases, and salts. That's it. This is your formula for success. It tells you exactly where to focus your revision, like a laser beam. And you know what? We can zoom in even further. Inside those chapters, there are a few topics that are the real heavy hitters. You absolutely have to master periodic trends, things like atomic size and ionization potential. You need to be able to draw electron dot diagrams in your sleep. Your ion identification tests using sodium hydroxide and ammonium hydroxide, that needs to be second nature. And you must know the definition of a coordinate bond, word for word. These are non-negotiable. So, because these topics show up over and over again, they've basically created what I like to call the greatest hits of question 2, the exact questions that you see time and time again. Let's take a look at some of these chart toppers. Here is an absolute classic. Define a coordinate bond. It's simple, it's direct, and it is a guaranteed mark if you just know the precise definition. Seriously, in our analysis, some version of this question has appeared in pretty much every paper we looked at. And here is the exact answer that gets you full marks. The keywords here are everything. It's a shared pair of electrons where both electrons come from only one of the atoms. If you get those key phrases in there, you've nailed it. Okay, let's try another one, this time from analytical chemistry. This is a classic test of your observation skills. They give you the result, and all you have to do is name the ion responsible. And the answer is the zinc ion, zinc 2+. Now, you might know that a few different ions give a white precipitate, but the absolute key detail here is that it's soluble in excess. That's the little piece of information that separates zinc from the others. And this table right here shows you why being precise is so important. Just look at zinc and lead. They both give a white precipitate that dissolves in excess sodium hydroxide. So how do you tell them apart? The examiner gives you clues in the description. Zinc is described as gelatinous, while lead is chalky. Meanwhile, copper is a whole different story with its pale blue precipitate that doesn't dissolve. Memorizing these exact words is what gets you the marks. All right, we've looked at the past, we've spotted the patterns, now it's time for the main event. Based on all this data and the latest specimen paper, what can we confidently predict for the upcoming 2026 exam? Let's take a look. So here it is, our data-driven forecast. We're predicting a 4-part question. First, a reasoning question on periodic trends. Next, and this is a big one, an electron dot diagram for the ammonium ion. Why? Well, the hydronium ion has been asked a lot recently, so it's a very logical next step for them to test the other key coordinate bond you study. Third, an analytical chemistry question, but this time using excess ammonium hydroxide. And finally, a classic element positioning question where you find the group and period from an atomic number. Okay, so you have the blueprint, you have the forecast. The question is, how do you use this information to absolutely master your preparation and walk into that exam feeling totally in control? It really just boils down to this simple strategic guide. First, you have to focus your energy on those 4 core chapters. Don't spread yourself too thin. Then, practice those greatest hits questions we talked about until you can answer them without even thinking. Make sure you really master the concepts we've predicted for 2026. And I mean really prioritize getting that ammonium ion diagram perfect. And of course, memorize those key color changes. They are free marks. So remember this, when you walk away from this, you're not just studying anymore. You are strategizing. You're targeting their effort where it will have the biggest impact. You officially have the blueprint. The only real question left is, are you going to use it to crack the code?